Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Hey Sister. Hey Sister, how you doing? It's been a rough one for us, right?
It's been a rough one, sister. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's always hard when you're dealing with loss or death. We know that, like we always say when we talk on get on this show and we report or share about different people who we've lost who are known to many. But then when you get word of losing someone who you've known really the majority of your life, who you grew up with, it sets a tone for the day. And so today's been a rough one for us, and just praying for our family because they truly are like family. So that's all I'm gonna say on that subject. I don't know if you want to say something, sister.
Nope, I don't. You summed it up.
Okay. Well, thank you for tuning in. I see Jody's in the house. Hey, Jody, missed you yesterday. I would have loved to be with you yesterday, but I was doing something, learning some things. I was learning some things, and Keisha, hey, Keisha.
Yeah.
Uh, yes, and keep praying, pray really for this family. Just keep the families lifted up, and we know that there are lots of families out there that are dealing with loss, is dealing with grief, that are dealing with the waves of grief, right? Because you know, it never leaves you, right? So with that, um we're gonna dive into some hot topics tonight. So as you see, we've been making our little plan. We got lots of folks that we're reaching out to who we want to get on the show, but we've been kind of
We've
focused
been busy doing a lot of things.
focused on some other things,
Yeah.
right? So name the first one I'm gonna throw out there is my upcoming women's conference. So if y'all ain't bought y'all ticket yet, we'll drop that in the comments so you can get a ticket. Come on to Orlando. But tonight we're gonna get into some hot topics, and let's start. I think one of the biggest things that's in the news now, it is driving the news cycle. It is the situation with the country Ukraine. So Ukraine matters. There's a lot of things that are happening in this situation. I posted something the other day and just was like we're really trying to go back to the 20th century. We're really trying to go back. We're almost a quarter into the new millennia. Y'all remember when Y2K was a thing? We're almost 25 years into this thing now, right? And folks is trying to go back to 1984. And I am like, what in the whole entire HE, double hockey stick, and some other words? I don't know, sister. What are your thoughts on just the geopolitical situation that is going down right now?
Well, first I want to say hey to Cam. Hey, Cam. We saw
Hey,
you
Cam.
looking fly and fresh in your blue and gold. So I think to your point, you posted it. It really resonated with me because it really was the question of why are we actually even why are we still having conversations like this? At the end of the day, it feels like we should be evolving as a species. And I know, as we've talked about Dr. Alana all the time, we haven't done a like we haven't changed a whole lot, but one would expect, girl, man, this my spit. Um, we would expect that we wouldn't still be having these kind of conversations. Why are you trying to colonize or reclaim some land that is no longer yours? And there was an analogy that was given, kind of like an ex-boyfriend who devastated you. You moved on with your life. You're trying to do better in your life, and he comes stalking you. He outside of your house threatening you and all this stuff. And it seems so silly because the question is, you know, whatever the USSR used to be, it isn't that anymore. And we should just be at a place where we are being better people. Again, I know evolutionary wise, we haven't made a lot of movement, but it just seems like we should be doing better than this. So
Well, I think for me, a couple of things that are just ultra disturbing. Like I saw an image that was shared to me of like babies in a NICU in a Ukrainian hospital, and then they're in a bomb shelter trying to keep these babies alive, right?
yeah, the
You
things you don't
have,
really think of, right?
yeah, the things that we don't think about, because those babies can't leave with their parent. Those who can leave, but the adult males, no adult males, if you between 18 and 60, you can't leave the country because you got to stay and fight. Um, and then there was the story today um, about African students who are there in universities and them trying to leave. And so now I'm seeing all these posts about if you're trying to leave, these are the things that you need.
Mhm.
Because when you leave a country or when you leave a border, you just can't like walk, this is not like you could just walk across. You have to have paper, you have to have documents. And I was reading this whole thing about if you lived in a war zone, what you need to have at the ready. Just kind of like what we know, like if you live in a storm zone, if you live in a hurricane zone, like you need to have, okay, you got to have your insurance papers. You need to have this amount of cash on hand. You need to have, copies of your birth certificates and your insurance and all of these things that you got to have at the ready in case something pop off. And I was just like, hearkening back to just a few months ago when all those people were trying to leave Afghanistan and trying to grab paper, right? Trying to grab things. And it's like to prove who you are, where you belong, your identity, your humanity. It's just so insane that this is what we're doing in 2022.
Yeah, that's insane. It's insane to hear that. I guess China was on Taiwan's border. It's insane. Well, and the added layer, and of course, I don't know all of the details with regards to the African students, but the added layer of this question of does racism ever take a day off? That's problematic as well because it's like if you're blocking people from leaving if they have a legal right to leave, because I know you pointed out that no men are being allowed to leave at this point. But if you have a legal right to leave, then why would you be blocking these African students from leaving? So it's a lot of layers here, but the most important and the most critical part is I need Vladimir Putin to sit down. I need you to sit down and take a rest. You've already stolen a plethora of elections, I'm sure, because you've been in office for forever. You've already committed many atrocities. You're still stockpiling
He
nuclear
helped
arms.
steal an election in this country too. And this
Right.
is the other thing. Y'all read these sources y'all getting this information from because what they are already on full media assault and targeting black people, especially. Because I would not be surprised if these images and all of this talk around Africans not being allowed out is a part of the disinformation campaign. So we could be up in arms
Towards Ukraine.
towards Ukraine because it's all about divide and conquer. I wouldn't be surprised at all by that.
No, you make a very valid point. So at the end of the day, it's like sit down somewhere. Can we just live in places and make our people better and make their living conditions better and pay people properly? And I know that's a communist country, so they have a whole different set of instructions
Well,
and
they're
governance.
an autocratic country now. I don't even know what they follow.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
what they follow. Because he definitely has no compass or the compasses of power.
But it's interesting because I was reading on Twitter, and I didn't read all the articles, but this lady basically was saying, you know, we need to stay out of it. And I, I'm not taking a position on that because I don't have enough information to take a position on it. But I could understand why people may see it both ways. You know, as the United States of America, you know, we have built ourselves as this superpower. We are, you know, the protectors of democracy. We're supposed to be standing in the gap for smaller nations that can't defend themselves. So I get that aspect of it, but I also get the aspect of it of, man, but history has shown us we have gotten involved with things, and we have definitely outstayed our welcome. You know, we've been watching LBJ, the series on LBJ that was on CNN. Rob started watching the series on Nixon, and he was just saying how, you know, here Nixon ran on this promise that he was going to end the Vietnam War and then extended it. And it starts to feel like what other conversations are being had and what other backdoor deals are being made. And we're not privy to all that information. So I can understand that there are probably people on both sides of this Ukraine Russia matter that are, some are like, we need to just stay completely out of it, and others are like, but if we stay out of it, what are the implications for the global society, for our global society? So,
well, there's this little thing called the North Atlantic Treaty Organization that was formed after World War II, and you know, we're an integral part of that, and that's why that. So when you have these treaties and alliances that have been in existence for a long time, now I'm not saying we ain't broke no treaty. I mean, the United States government broke every treaty with the native nations. Every native nation, every treaty they had with the native nations, they broke. So I'm not saying we are not capable of breaking the treaty if we don't want to, but that there's that little thing to think of. Anyway, I just say that it's losing lives over something that seems futile, no matter where it is in the world, knowing that, you know, we just really want to live, provide for our families and our children, and leave something behind. I think that's just kind of like the basics of humanity, and we just kind of want to have the basics of humanity. And yeah, I'm with you, Jolinda. This entire situation is archaic. It is sad. It is horrible. Keisha says, I just can't understand how some can be praising Putin. Big Bang P. You never heard Big Bang P. You know, I don't understand that either. But we do know, and what we should not forget, and what no one should forget, is that the former resident of the White House is this same President Zelensky, is this same country which he was trying to withhold arms from because they had already had negotiated to receive certain arms to protect themselves. Don't forget that, because that conversation, that was what the first impeachment was about. That first impeachment, y'all, that's what it was about. It was about, hey, you need to, we're not going to give you these arms. You need to say this and you need to do this.
Because they wanted to focus on Hunter Biden. And
we need you to do this.
Yes.
We need you to do this. And so do not believe that, and that's why, Lakeisha, one of the reasons why some are defending him, because they're wedded to the former White House resident. And
I just be wanting to go somewhere and take a nap. Why they gotta be doing all of this? It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, and then to Denise's point, he's why idiots around these parts want to say go Putin. Yeah. And so all I'm going to say is don't forget that, because again, we'll be supplying them weapons to defend themselves against who? Who's there now?
But I just that comment that Denise just made, whew, like, what I want people to understand is, because we live in the United States and we have one of the strongest militaries, if not the strongest military in the world, we can sit comfortably knowing that there's probably not another country that alone could attack us. Now, if some of them decide to get together, that might be a different story, but alone one couldn't attack us. So
not with traditional means.
right, correct. And so we sit in a pretty comfortable position and we take that for granted. But to say go Putin would be, if it would be analogous to if Canada or Mexico had equal or more military strength than we did, and they just decided, if Mexico was just like, I think I want
Texas back.
My country back. I want Texas. No, not Texas. Texas to California up to.
Yeah, but they'll do it one at a time, because that's how Putin did it. He did right. Georgia, Crimea. He's been doing it one at a time. So if they do one at a time, and Mexico say, we're gonna start with. Actually, we're gonna start with a little one like New Mexico. Ain't too many people gonna get too mad about New Mexico, right? So we're gonna start with that one first, and then we're gonna, and that's gonna be a part of it. Okay, so then now I'm gonna work my way over to Arizona, right? And I'm gonna get that one then. Okay, so then I gotta hedge my bets. Like, which one am I going for? The big Texas, or am I going for? No, I'm gonna go with Nevada next, because I get these 3 small ones, and then y'all on these outside before I try to go. And I mean, it will be akin to that.
Or if I wait for Utah after that. Yeah, and that's the whole point. So when I hear folks read that comment, it's like, you really sit in a very privileged, for those who don't believe in privilege, you sit in a very privileged place to be able to say, quote unquote, go Putin, because he's doing it to somebody else. But what if it could happen to you? Would you be wanting people to say go? Because as much as they complain about this border, just imagine if Mexico was like, yeah, we got the same military strength or greater military strength. Now we coming to get ours. I don't know why people don't think, but all right, I guess.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Well, let's go to another topic in the world of politics. The SCOTUS nominee, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, she was nominated where Joe Biden kept his promise to nominate a Black woman to the Supreme Court. Some of the things that I have seen and read online and in the different verses that we in all the verses, Twitterverse, and all the verses that we're on, and some of the articles that have been posted. Obviously, she has an unassailable reputation as a jurist, but even when you have
so did Jesus, he was unassailable too.
When you have an unassailable reputation, when you are supported by law enforcement organizations, when you're supported even by some on the Republican side, when you're supported by the Democrats, when you're supported by everybody. And I'm gonna just say, like the way Sunny Hostin said it the other day, if you a Black woman and you made it that high up, you already know you had to be the best at everything, because you wasn't even gonna get that far, and to have people who already approved her 3 times, but that she's been approved by the Senate, because she sits in the DC circuit as a federal judge, to now say, I'm not sure about her. I just want to say, what do you got to say, sister?
It's nothing about her that they don't have to be sure about. they need to ask themselves, who are they actually? It's not. It's nothing about her that they need to be concerned about. Ask yourself, who are you really?
Mm-hmm.
That's the bottom line. Because like you said about Sunny Hostin, but a lot of people don't want to admit this, but you know, even on a black woman's worst day, and we know that none of us are perfect and we have flaws and faults as well. But when it comes to our ability to work hard, when it comes to our ability to make change, when it comes to our ability to make something out of nothing, this is historical. We ain't new to this, we true to this.
Because we had to be.
Because we've always had to be.
I
And so,
mean,
I was talking earlier to Jessica, and I was talking about Biddy Mason, because I was saying from my speech last week about Biddy Mason, I'm like, they made this woman walk 1,700 miles behind a 300 wagon caravan, setting up the camp, breaking down the camp, cooking the meals, being a midwife, and she had 3 babies of her own to take care of.
mm-hmm.
And then she still ends up becoming a millionaire and buying the land that's now downtown Los Angeles. You can't tell me we ain't bad. We bad at bad meaning good. You can't tell me.
Come on, LL.
Right. You can't tell me we not fly. You can't tell me we not bad. You can't tell me that anything that you've given to a black woman, like I said, she done made something.
Not given. And so I want us to even change
I'm saying given as in any challenge you've thrown at us, we always make something out of nothing because we've had to. So when anybody starts with this, I don't know. I just don't know. What don't you know? Tell me any time in history that a black woman was called on and it was like, man, everything got messed up. Tell me when that happened. Tell me any time in history. Again, y'all trying to take books out of the classroom about Ruby Bridges. That was a baby.
Right.
She was a baby. She was
6 years old at the time.
6 years old and did stuff that grown white men wouldn't even have the courage and bravery to do. But now you got questions about what we have the ability to do. Get out of my face.
We got 2 times Harvard graduate and they still find a million things wrong. They are assholes.
Well, that's the thing. But the 2 times Harvard graduate, let me delve in a little bit on that. It's like there is no winning, right? Because even when you are a 2 times Harvard graduate, when you're Michelle Obama and you have a law degree, you're the most educated former first lady ever, we decide to talk about her wearing a sleeveless dress. That becomes important. When we talk about, everybody wants to talk about how you have to be Ivy League educated in order to hold these certain roles and positions. Well, the idiot that used to be in the White House, he was Ivy League educated, supposedly. That doesn't mean anything. But when we step up to the plate, we step all the way up. And so she's got all the qualifications. So anybody who's questioning that she has the qualifications, that's not about her. That's
no, they're not questioning qualifications at all. Like this is my girl Ketanji Onika Brown Jackson has the blackest name and the baddest credentials ever. I love it. I don't know if it's the blackest because I'm still thinking Barack Hussein Obama was the blackest.
Well, I read a sister posted on LinkedIn and she said something about I'm going to get the quote wrong, but it was about naming your daughter something where someone has to pronounce all the syllables of their name. And so in this case, yes, pronounce it Ketanji and Kamala and get it right. Because again, there's nothing you put in front of any
I
of
mean,
us.
because Christine over there in
Like you don't see the A. Okay.
Dimitri, and I was like, when the A fell off my name.
Right. And that extra syllable just was gonna do them in. But you know, but there are people who were questioning her because before it was even announced, it was already like, well, what that stupid stuff that Ted Rafael Cruz said, which you don't even have any, you don't have any credentials. How that be the most, and now I'm talking all kind of improper English. But that's
Vernacular.
the
Go ahead
most
with the vernacular.
yes, because that's the most disgusting part about it. How you mediocre at best? You don't even deserve an opinion on the conversation. You don't even deserve to have an opinion on what this woman, who this woman is, and what she brings to the table. Raphael, what are your credentials? Who are you? What have you done? You've been riding the state of Texas back for years. What have you done? They just had another storm and the stuff wasn't working right. What have you done for your state?
Mm-hmm.
But you have the audacity, so you don't want another woke person.
But I sure don't want somebody that's asleep, because that's the problem. Too many people are asleep right at this moment in time. That's why we, as we said earlier, we are trying to reverse, go back into the 20th century. You mentioned the state of Texas, here in the state of Florida. I happened to turn on the Florida channel one day and listening as they're trying to pass legislation to have a special police force for voter fraud. Now, the only voter fraud we know that came out of Florida has been in the villages, and they wasn't voting for no Democrats anyway. Okay, so this whole thing about voter fraud and having a special police force, and now we're like, oh well, we're not going to be able to the quote unquote don't say gay bill, because they're not going to be able to talk about gay or trans, and then text, oh, you're going to be able to sue parents in Texas if and providers if they have conversations to support their children who are trans, or even asking questions. I'm like, where are we? Like, I really do feel like that, Superman is gone and Bizarro is ruling the world. Like, I really kind of feel like we are in Bizarro world, because none of that don't change your life or impact your life in either way. And then you don't want to just have, because then they also have the Stop Woke bill here in Florida. And it's like, right, because you want to perpetuate idiocy. So we don't want people to be awake. We want people to be asleep. We want to have the idiots ruling the day, and while their kids, who these people who are in these elected officials, while their kids are not in public schools, because the real play here is to demolish public education. That's the real play,
and
they can afford to send their kids to private schools.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. And I really wish we would be very aware of it, because again, the repeated, and I know we done moved off of Kentanji, but the repeated playbook is separating, getting poor white people to do the work and the dirty work of the wealthy white establishment. That's always been a playbook. So we gonna
patriarchal, white male patriarchal establishment. Like let's put all of it in there, because it's all connected.
Yes. So we're gonna have you go and threaten your school board members. We're going to have you spitting mad in these meetings. We're going to pass these bills because we don't want to teach critical race theory. The one they have here in Arizona that they're trying to pass is basically to have where you have to inform your, if a child has a conversation with a therapist, and again, if they're so afraid of their children being trans, I guess this is like such an issue for them, that the therapist, your guidance counselor, what have you, has to inform the parent. So now it's like, so I don't know I'll find the exact language of what's being proposed. So it's like, so you're not thinking about the fact that there are children that are in abusive homes. There are children in homes where they don't even get to eat until they come to school. And if they're having that conversation with their guidance counselor or a therapist, they're going to be required to then report it to the very people who may be abusing them.
And even if the parents are not abusive,
or even not.
That's the thing. Even if parents are not abusive, say the parents are not abusive, but say that child is just looking for a safe haven, looking for someone to talk to before they even prepare to talk to their parents, right?
Right.
Like that. To then say, oh, you'll be, I mean, what are we doing? And but they say, I mean, hey, wearing the mask was too much for the kids and their mental health. And so now we want to have all of these rules and laws, and we're gonna want kids to know this stuff. Like it's insane. It's insanity.
So here it is. Arizona House okays bill requiring teachers to share what students tell them to parents. So the Arizona House has advanced House Bill 2161, which could require teachers and school counselors to tell a student's parents anything the child discloses to them in confidence. That includes anything related to their mental, physical, or emotional health. Now, how is that? How does that, like,
how does that help their mental or emotional health when
exactly.
They can't have confidence in adults who's supposed to protect them?
Exactly.
Oh Lord. A couple more comments here I'm gonna throw up, and then we'll move on to the next topic here. We got one, and furthermore, her last name Jackson comes from a white man who is not only a doctor but a surgeon at that part. I bet they met in some of them fancy circles. You know how y'all elite people, y'all know how y'all get uppity when y'all go to them schools. Somebody, let me stop acting silly over here. Another comment here says, assholes, I'm telling y'all. Yes. We're in a place where the teachers have to tell the parents their children are gay and not allow them to handle it in their own time. Who can children turn to now? What's going to happen to those kids who are already in an abusive household? Or even, like I said, even if they're not in an abusive household and they're just seeking a safe haven to be able to talk through some things and go through something. Arizona too, girl. Everywhere. Okay. We better encourage our
Look,
children.
they got white men in Arizona. Yes. Arizona too.
Yeah, it's a mess. So the legislation that is, and it's again, it's all across the country, because one of the things that has happened is they get so hung up on these national elections and these presidential elections that they forget the impact of their state legislatures and the Congress people and the senators that represent them on a state level, and all of the gerrymandering that goes on, all of these inane bills that go on, all of the abuse of resources that goes on at your state level is what we are seeing at bear in this moment. And it's sickening. It's disgusting. It's very disgusting. So it's look, y'all, I don't know where we're gonna go. I don't think the moon is the answer, because y'all already know, because that's the other thing. How we gonna be in at the space station with the Russians, and the Russians trying to blow up the world?
I don't know where we're gonna go either, but all I'm gonna say is if other folks take off, we might need to let them. If they should want to go, we might need to let them. Let's not run behind them.
Well, I ain't about running behind nobody. Let's see what else we have on tap tonight. NAACP Image Awards. So the NAACP Image Awards, I have a confession to make. I have not watched in years. years. I haven't watched. What was the thing that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me? Was it the barbershop kerfuffle about the movie Barbershop? Or was it, it was something else for me? And I was like, I ain't watching this no more. I'm done. So I haven't watched in years, but they had Meghan and Harry got the President's Award. They were on, and many other awards. I know sister and I, we were going through the awards prior to the show. Did anybody watch the awards? If y'all watched them, I don't know. Did they even air, or they were recorded? They were recording it for it to air whenever it's going to air. I don't know. What y'all think about these NAACP Image Awards?
So here's what I'm going to say. I have not, the last time I watched is when I was physically there. So it's been probably over 5 years, because I don't remember it being anything more recent than that. But I do think we should absolutely support the NAACP Image Awards, because, we support Oscars, that have been so white for so long. We've supported Emmys, we've supported other shows, Grammys, Billboards, whatever, that have had a history of not appreciating us. And so if this is a place where truly people of color, so not just Black people, people of color can be represented, then I think it's something that we should support. Now, that being said, I am not certain who sits on the board who votes. Yes, I don't know how that is determined. I have questions about it. That's what I know for sure. I have questions. I have questions if they've seen any of these films that they voted on. You going fast. You got to pick some. We got to have some conversation.
No, I'm just scrolling through so the people out there can get a little flavor.
Well, you got to talk. We got to talk through some of them.
Okay, well, you tell me which ones you want to talk through. We got it was live. Okay, and Joe Lindy said it's improved since the barbershop. Not bad incident, so not bad. I don't know what you want to talk about, sister. Which one you want to hit on first? Entertainer of the Year, Jennifer Hudson?
We can start there. So Joe Lindy at least watched. So let's talk about it. Was Jennifer Hudson the Entertainer of the Year? Now, who was she up against?
It said Lil Nas X, Megan Thee Stallion, Regina King, Tiffany Haddish. And if we're talking about the year of our Lord, which was 2021, for that year, we're talking about that calendar year, or are we talking about?
Girl, let me find the criteria, because
find the criteria. Because I'm gonna say, I don't know. That might be Meg on that one, if I'm gonna be real honest. But I don't know who votes, so let me shut up my mouth. I mean, Jennifer, she was in the movie Respect. I don't know where else she was entertaining. She did go around, do some shows, but I don't know. The girl can sing her face off, so I'm not saying anything about that. But anyway,
yeah, I'm looking for.
You look at outstanding motion picture.
Okay, yes, let's talk through that.
I love The Harder They Fall. I think a couple other these were even better movies, but that's me. But see, sometimes when there's a lot of good things in a category, it can the vote gets split. Right.
Okay, in order to be considered for the nominations, projects must have been released between January 1st and December 31st, 2021. So that is in the year of our Lord 2021.
So last year was still kind of a blur for me. Okay. Outstanding actor in a motion picture. I can go with this.
Who?
Will Smith and King Richard.
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, of course.
But that Mahershala Ali and Swan Song.
Okay, I didn't see it. So.
I'm gonna just say that's the problem. People didn't see Swan Song. Joe Lindy, I know you saw Swan Song. You can co-sign with me on that, right? Regina should have won. I was honestly surprised at the selection of Jennifer
Hudson.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Regina she won something. Regina won something over here.
Well, Regina, I'm sure won for
She
The
won
Heart
for
of the
the best
Fall.
supporting actress in The Harder They Fall. Daniel Kaluuya. I
Blue
don't
You
know if
Are.
I said it correctly, but he won for Judas and the Black Messiah, and he did a great job in that. Now, sister, you say you ain't too sure about this Encanto.
I'm not. I know. Listen, the little kids are gonna kill me. I know we don't talk about Bruno, no. I know, but Encanto, in my opinion, took a really long time. It was like we went around the world to get across the street. I just really, I liked it in terms of the representation. I love seeing the variety because often in live action movies we don't see Lat um, Latinos or Latinx representation across the board.
Yes,
So I
across the
appreciate
spectrum.
across the spectrum. I appreciated that. And I know the songs are very, very catchy, but when it came to the crux of the story, I am still trying to figure it all out.
So I'm looking at some of the comments here.
Don't go
So
there.
our guy should have won. Mahershala should have won. If you see Swan Song and the acting job he did in there, you just like any movie where you carry the whole movie by yourself, kind of like how Tom Hanks did when Tom Hanks, like most of the movie, he was on screen with a
With
volleyball
Wilson.
with Wilson, the volleyball, and we thought Wilson was a real person because it was a volleyball. Like when people can do stuff like that, when Mahershala was playing two versions of himself at the same time simultaneously. Anytime you do something like that, like you on some acting higher level kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Jennifer should not have. Okay.
Okay, so I'm not the only one who.
The actress who played Aretha on Hulu is the winner. Okay, don't go there, Christina. Talk about Encanto. Okay.
I know I want to love it. I want to love it, but it's cute. But it just, I don't know. I still ain't trying to. I don't know what the point was.
So to your point, Keisha, outstanding television movie limited series. Colin in Black and White was the winner. While Colin in Black and White is great, Genius Aretha, starring Cynthia Erivo, was better than Colin in Black and White. I like Colin in Black and White. I thought it was very insightful. But Genius Aretha on Hulu, child, listen. But I guess since they were trying,
Was that on Hulu? Maybe it's on Hulu now. That wasn't originally on Hulu, right? Wasn't it on like Nat Geo or some?
Yeah, I think it
channel?
was on both at the same time.
Okay.
The Genius series is, I think, yeah, Nat Geo and Hulu.
All
Listen,
right.
I'm just saying.
I mean, we'll have to talk about Encanto. Maybe I could be swayed, but I don't know. I'm like the house. I'm still y'all. I'm still trying to figure it out. I was like, so you was cracking up the ball house, and we had to rebuild you. Okay, I get it, that part. But why that little girl had to go through all that with her driving with her grandmama? Why her grandmama had to treat her like that? That wasn't right. No, you got to love her even in her not having a gift. But she had a gift, but she didn't have the gift that you wanted her to have. Okay, what else we got?
So this outstanding album, this is the last one I'm talking about. Now, I love Jasmine Sullivan and Hotels, but I'm gonna tell y'all right now, and Evening with Silk Sonic is one. Listen, you can put that on from beginning to end, nonstop, and play all 8 songs. And it's 8, 9, whatever it is. It tells a whole complete story. It's one of the best albums ever done. Ever done. Ever done. So, all right. So, Jeff, we need a movie critic discussion on Swan Song. Joe Lindy says, tell you we need that. So come on, movie critic. Genius was genius, and Christina, stop being a hater.
I am a hater. Okay.
So I'm not saying I don't support NAAC Image Award. I'm just saying I have not really watched it in years. And the truth is, I haven't watched the Oscars. I haven't watched the Emmys. I usually get like the news stories the next day. I really haven't watched many of them in years because they're it's kind of I'm kind of like with the NFL. They kind of like falling in that category with me in that, there's so many other great creative things that are out there that I could be investing my time and energy and effort in. I love having awards and recognizing the brilliance and the work of people, but a lot of it has just devolved down to red carpet, this and that, and the real quality work, some of the best work out there still doesn't get the type of global recognition it should.
Yeah, but I think that's the point. I think that's why we have to support it, because as is the case with a lot of things, if you don't support it, it doesn't necessarily get better. And those diamonds in the rough, or those hidden gems, don't get uncovered until there are different voices that can add to the conversation. So,
well, since we're speaking about diamonds in the rough, I know we have another topic, but I'm gonna just drop it in the comments down. Who's watching Abbott Elementary? So I watched it from day one. I hope the Wonder Years don't get canceled because I'm like I'm feeling, I don't know if they getting the love, but if you are not watching Abbott Elementary on ABC, you missing your whole life. I don't watch. It's only 7, 8 episodes in. I done watched it like 2, 3 times already, every episode, because I absolutely love it. I love seeing the shine Quinta Brunson is getting. And coming from, again, when we talked about Issa Rae and Insecure, from starting on a internet web-based series. She started out on BuzzFeed and doing videos there, and then started creating some content there. And listen, yes, the actress who plays the principal, Ava, listen, for comedic timing, for facial expressions, for everything that she gives, sister is giving. And the show is hilarious. Cheryl Lee Ralph is phenomenal. I just love the whole show. So if y'all ain't watched it, make sure you watch it. I don't even know if it's a diamond in the rough no more, because I think everybody's been talking about it. So
yeah, Janelle James is the actress who plays Ava.
Yes. And who plays the teacher, the Italian teacher? Because the way she says Janine, she's giving her face. Oh my God. And the kids. I think they said the kids are real students. They're not, actors or trained actors. Yes, one of the best comedies out there right now. It most definitely is. And it is going to stand the test of time. I think it's going to get a quick syndication deal, because honey, them episodes.
Oh, yeah. It's Lisa Ann Walter.
When she was like, she was talking about, oh, you want somebody to come talk to them about the strike? Oh yeah, I got somebody for you. Oh my goodness. Okay, I haven't seen Bel-Air yet. So
no, we were talking about that yesterday.
So Linda, we gotta talk about. I had a little trouble on the login. We gotta talk about that.
I got it. Yeah, I got it. I'm gonna have to go on ahead. Jessica says, "Sis, go on ahead."
She's breakdown. We gotta break down. Well, we ain't gonna talk about what we gonna do on the interwebs, but we gonna break down. We gonna figure out. We gonna figure it out. We gonna figure it out. Yeah, we gonna figure it out. So much love, so much is coming for Bel-Air. So yeah, there's a lot out there. And let's give Keisha a round of applause. She finally finished Handmaid's Tale.
Well, speaking of that, we were just talking, and I had said, we were talking about all the stuff in the world, and Michael Harriot. We both love Michael Harriot on Twitter, and he posted the other day. It's gonna be hard to tell our kids how hard we had it growing up because they're just gonna say, "Yeah, but was it World War III during a global pandemic as democracy collapsed after Rihanna left the music and the dating game hard?" And then I said, when Handmaid's Tale became life imitating art hard. So I'm happy, Keisha, that you have now seen all of Handmaid's Tale because now you understand why this is where we at. This is what we're literally living in. We are literally burning books again. I mean, if you just banning them, you burning them.
You
We
banned
burning
a book about burning books. Girl,
yeah,
that's where we at.
we
So the
yeah.
last topic for tonight is the Mardi Gras Mambo.
Oh, is that the one? That's not what I thought you were going with.
Oh, which one I was going with? Which one I was
I
going
thought
with?
we were going to talk about Niece and them.
Oh, I forgot about that. I mean, again, it goes back to that whole celebrity obsession thing. Listen, shout Niecy Nash and her wife are the first same-sex couple to grace the cover of Essence magazine. Essence magazine is a stalwart in the Black community, especially for Black women. Started in 1970, I believe, when Essence magazine came out, and I used to love Essence when I was young, getting the magazine and seeing the Black models on the cover of Essence, because that's where most magazines used to have models. Now magazines just have celebrities on the cover. Now they don't really feature models like they used to. But we were having this conversation. I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think about. I'm like, I'm tired of these magazines featuring all these celebrity couples, because one year is you and this person you booed up with, and next year is this person you booed up with, and the next year, 5 years later from now, is somebody else you booed up with. That's the only thing that really gets under my skin. I mean, Niecy looks beautiful, Jessica looks beautiful. They look great together. From what I've seen in terms of the media coverage about the cover. But I'm tired of celebrity couples being on cover of magazines, because I remember it like it was yesterday. It was like top 10 couples, and it was Will and Cherie Smith, and then the next year it was Will and Jada Smith. And I was like, wait a minute, Ebony, how y'all do that? I don't know.
Because things happen. Relationships fall apart. That year they were the top couple. And then the next year he was top with someone else. I mean,
Okay.
that's what it is. I mean, and don't get me wrong. We only know about it, of course, because we do live in this culture where every celebrity in their life and their relationship and what they ate for breakfast is under a microscope or put a bright light is shined upon it. But I mean, we know folks like that in your real life.
And that's why I don't want to be seeing them on the cover. I mean, because the articles be so well written, it'd be about so much love, and then it'd be like, well, wait a minute. I mean, because if you were like, that love was so intense and like that, I mean, look, Niecy wrote a whole book telling us about how to stay with our man and her husband, and within a year of that, she was with her now wife. I mean, I'm like, girl, like in 365 days, that intensity breakdown like that in 365. I struggle with that a little bit, but that's just me.
Oh no, and I totally get it. You struggle with that. You have a very different outlook and a very different
Relationship.
experience, right?
Yeah.
She may have very well had that intensity.
And maybe it was faking the funk. And somewhere along the way, you was faking the funk because you were doing what you needed to do. I don't know.
Yeah, well, somewhere along the line, maybe she was trying to convince herself that that's exactly what it was. I mean, because obviously now she's married to a woman. So perhaps she recognized that this is actually not what I want. I actually want to be with someone who, I heard a conversation again that stands out in my mind between her and Lena Waithe, and that's when it was, I could have good, but what if I want exhilarating?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's what it was. So at the time, she could have been trying to convince herself, girl, you got it good. You doing all the right stuff. Stay with this man and love him and be happy. And then she realized, I'm not.
And now, see, and again, for me, I'm not even so hung up on the gender or
No,
whatever.
not even the gender. I'm just saying in general, whether it's the gender, whether it's whoever it is, race, height, there, we know people who have been in relationships and they have been daily trying to convince themselves they're really happy about that relationship.
Yeah, I guess so.
I
Well,
like Mardi Gras Mambo.
Mardi Gras mambo, mambo, mambo. All y'all out there Mardi Gras, y'all know how I feel. Be safe. Have a good time. COVID is still out there. Omicron is still out there. Subvariants are still out there. So be wise in all your choices and your decision making. But I am kind of missing Mardi Gras and Cane Cake and crawfish and all the rest. Tonight, Bacchus is parading. Tomorrow is Lundi Gras, and I'm sure the annual Lundi Gras celebration and where Zulu and Rex meet is going to be all that. And then Fat Tuesday is the big day. What are you missing this year, sister?
I'm good. I mean, I the thing that I miss the most about Mardi Gras is just the people, being around people, family, friends, and eating good food. But it's the camaraderie of it all. The parades itself. I ain't really tripping off that. Sometimes the parades can get a little with for me. With folks saying the wrong stuff and testing my gangster. But other than that, it's really about the family environment and the getting together part. So
for sure. So I got some comments here. We're gonna go through. Cancel HBO Max for a few months and subscribe to Peacock Plus. I might have, yeah, all right.
I mean, thank you, because Jessica had to tell me it was on Peacock. I was gonna sit up there and subscribe to Paramount Plus, and was gonna be all up in the wrong place. So thank y'all for.
But on Paramount Plus, you could watch those real world reunions. I ain't seen those either.
That's okay.
Can I just say that everywhere I go, I'm the only one wearing a mask. It is amazing. Well, wherever I'm going, I'm wearing it too. So, and I know I've seen the Mardi Gras photos. I ain't wearing no mask. Anyway.
But they're outside, so hopefully that
not all the pictures. Them people in them Superdomes was an outside, and then their convention center parties was an outside. Now stop the lies now.
That's true. Yes, they weren't outside in the balls. You're right.
That's right. All right. Well, anyway, folks, that's tonight's episode of Hey Sister. We thank you for tuning in and being active in the comments. Like I said, continue to pray for the world, for our family, for our friends, and for all of those who you love and who love you, and even for those who you don't love. What the world is in need, as Stevie Wonder would say, is of love today. So with that, we're going to sign off and say, we love you, Hey Sister family. Good night.